Mic check, 1 2. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? All right, there we go. Can you guys hear me? All right, good. Sound is good. How's it going, guys? Top Roller, thank you. I just saw your comments in before the show, so I appreciate your comments. Today, I'm going to show you guys something very special, which most people will never see. I'm going to smoke one of these. This is how a cigar looks when it comes off the farm in Cuba. So this cigar was specifically rolled for a friend of mine by a farm in Cuba that he loves. He loves the roller and this other stuff. And this is a Lanceros shaped cigar. It is also the shape of a candle. Perfect thing to smoke. Although maybe right now we need to be holding it like that. But this is a custom roll Cuban cigar, which is given away as gifts. They're not, unless you know someone, you're not going to be able to get them because Cuba is obviously a communist country. So it is going to control the export of all cigars coming out of it. But this is not a Cuban controlled. This is just someone who loves cigars making a cigar from the farm of their house. So, very special cigar, and I'm lighting it with a soft flame lighter this time. I know some of you guys are nerds like me, so you like learning about what am I doing, how am I doing it, etc., etc. Listen, guys, I don't know what type of, someone says they're smoking lemon haze. Why would you smoke marijuana while watching me? Doesn't that make you neurotic? Now, you've certainly never seen me take a puff on a cigar when I've got a jet lighter. This is a soft flame lighter, so you can take a puff on a cigar with a soft flame lighter. I would never do it with a jet flame lighter. Why? Because the soft nature of the flame makes sure that not too much heat attacks the tobacco, so that the flavor remains consistent. When you got a jet flame and you're going straight at the cigar, then it can burn the tobacco and ruin the flavor later on in the cigar. So this is just cigar nerd stuff. So CZ's out of here. Bye bye CZ. Who remembers when I said Binance would be the next one? Who remembers? Relying on you guys to remember. Because if you don't remember, who's going to remember? Can I just is there a way I can just have no background? How does this work? Hold on. What's this? I don't know what the fuck that was. Anyway, so CZ's done, right? What is going to happen to CZ? That's what I've been trying to keep an eye out for. Let's look at the latest news as to what's happening to this guy. Okay, so the timeline of things is this. CZ has agreed to resign as the CEO of Binance, the number one shitcoin exchange in the entire world. The number one shitcoin exchange in the entire world, ran by CZ, designed to extract value from the number one most valuable asset known to humanity. And he has faced the consequences. So he has resigned, right? They've agreed to pay a $4-point-something billion fine. He has pled guilty to violating criminal anti-money laundering requirements. Remember when all the crypto nerds were saying, oh, but Binance is not in the US, so it can't be affected in the US. Remember that? What happened? What happened, shitcoiners? Did your guru die? Yes, your guru died. What happens? What happened? A lot of people are saying, what's up, Craig? A lot of people are saying the same thing, which is CZ's still the majority owner. CZ's still the majority owner. You can be the majority owner. When you get caught doing this kind of stuff, what typically happens is they'll say, transfer your share ownership to a blind trust, and then, resign as CEOs. You just have no direct influence over it, and that's what it looks like they've given him. So they've criminally charged Binance with the following. By the way, I put my video up earlier today. I said, get your money off of Binance because you don't know what the hell is going to happen. Market closes. U.S. government criminally charges Binance with conspiracy, conducting unlicensed money transmitting business, and violating International Emergency Economic Powers Act. And then a press release. Binance allowed ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Hamas to transact on its platform, the U.S. government says. The U.S. government bans CZ from engaging and managing Binance operations. He's done. He's out. He's finished. Then Binance CEO CZ is facing 18 months in prison as part of his plea deal with the U.S. government. Now, you know it's going to be a nice prison, right? You know it's going to be a good prison. And then out of that, $1.3 billion in user funds were withdrawn from Binance following the U.S. government indictment. And then finally, just minutes ago, CZ has been released from custody. It means he was in custody, right? In custody on a $175 million bond. $175 million bond. Now, here's the beautiful thing for CZ. He's made a bunch of money, right? CZ's made a bunch of money. He will ride off into the sunset and live a very, very rich life. Unlike Sam Bankman-Fried, who tried to take the government on a joyride, right? They won't be that nice to him. I don't even know whether he'll even get the 18 months or not. We'll see. He has settled. He has settled this without a trial. He knows what he's done, and he's settled this without a trial. Now, typically, if you ever have been sued, you know that the best way to do it is to settle. To try and go through a court case just doesn't make most sense in most scenarios. Again, someone said SBF stole customer funds. It's different. Possibly. But whatever it is, we now know that Binance is the one that has been chosen to bring into the fold, unlike FTX. Because otherwise, FTX would have been the one to bring into the fold. No. Gael said, just like, I hope I pronounced your name right, just like JP Morgan, just pay the fine and keep making money. That's not true. It's not true at all. Not yet, anyway. This is not that. By the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It's the only way I can get YouTube to be spanked hard enough to put Bitcoin content in front of new people that need to hear it. So if you want to help me, please subscribe. So they're going to drastically change the type of operation that Binance can do. It is already the CEO. I made this prediction. I said, I bet the next CEO is going to be US, American, or European. And it turned out to be a Singaporean, which if you spend any time in Asia, you know how intertwined the Singaporean and the American financial systems are. So it's as close to an American as you can get in Asia, and I still predict it changes. Right now, it's just right now. Remember when I said you never ever trust these morons that say, I'm just making money so I can give it away? Two of them. Two of them interviewed by the same weirdo. Two of them interviewed by the same guy saying the same shit have gone. You can go find that interview. I bet that guy doesn't even want his interview being watched right now. You know the weirdo interviews. Who knows what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, CZ pleading guilty is bullish as fuck. Absolutely agreed. I'm not saying that the fine isn't a way out. That's what happens when you settle. But they're going to put so many other restrictions on Binance now in terms of watching what they do, how they perform, what type of deals they get into, etc. There's going to be so much oversight of Binance. It might as well be a U.S. company. And that's what I think will happen ultimately, as I put in my video. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it, by the way. Matthew said, what's up, Matthew? Do you think Binance Bitcoin reserves continue to drop and possibly accelerate 50K Bitcoin off Binance in the last 6 months? Do you think it will get people to cold store their Bitcoin? I don't know whether it does that, but certainly it's going to drive people to get their shit off of Binance. You don't even know if Binance is going to exist at this point. You don't even know if Binance will exist at this point. Hold on. To buy some Bitcoin. Go buy some Bitcoin. We came below the channel that we've been running. I got some cash sitting here. All right, there we go. So, Clout Casino said, do you want to make the Bitcoin price go up, buy Bitcoin and take it off the exchange? Yeah. It's really that simple. So, CZ is done. Binance is done. They are now under the purview of the United States regulatory bodies, as I've been saying for a while. What's next? What comes next? Well, I think that this will justify enough cleaning up of the system, as Gary Gensler has tried to say that he wants to do. And now that he's cleaned up, quote unquote, cleaned up the system, he will move to approve a Bitcoin ETF. That's what I think is coming. This is the fastest consecutive cleanup I've seen of an industry like this in a very, very long time, if not ever. FTX is gone. Shitcoins are down. You know, they've indicted Kraken, and now Binance is gone as well. British Auto, you don't think they go after Tether next? I don't know. It's easier to bring Tether into the fold. By the way, what happens when Larry Fink turns around and tells all of his portfolio companies, hey, you know, like he wrote that investment letter which made the whole market shit itself about ESG. Hey, if you're a BlackRock portfolio company and you have excess energy that you are just wasting and not mining Bitcoin with, from next year we will no longer give you any capital. You think this is a game? I just got off the phone with the one person who, when I was being British Hodl on Clubhouse back in 2021, there was only one person that truly understood the multiplier effect at the same time as me when that Bank of America report dropped. His name is Samson. I just got off the phone with him after a long time, and we were talking about, you know, what the layups that can happen here. And the layups are absolutely spectacular. Right? They're going to control the Bitcoin through the ETF. They're going to control the mining companies because that's what they invest in, the ancillaries. They're going to go and control the things that benefit the ancillaries that they can trade off of. And then why not call all your companies and say, if you have excess energy, if you're not mining Bitcoin with it and putting Bitcoin on that balance sheet with that excess energy, you will no longer get capital from us because, number one, you're not helping the environment, but really, you're not maximizing your profits. And that's just one. And what happens when every 4 years, because these are fee generating organizations, what happens when every 4 years their fees compound, right? Their fees are compounding. Their fees are a percentage of the dollar value of the assets under management, which means that if in the first year they've got 2 billion and in the second year they've got 20 billion, they're still earning a 1% fee on the dollar value of those assets. So now their investors are going, hey, this is working out quite nicely. Which funds are generating these fees? Oh, it's Bitcoin. Right? Maybe you should spend some more time getting some more capital into those funds, Larry. Oh, and what's been your best performing funds this year, Larry? Oh, Bitcoin's number one again. Okay, so Bitcoin's number one best performing fund. Bitcoin's number one most fee generating fund. Interesting, Larry. What about the special investments that only the multi-billionaires get access to? What's been the highest performer on that? Oh, that's been Bitcoin too, because of the Bitcoin miners and all the other ancillary investments that we've made. It's been Bitcoin too. Okay, Larry, that sounds great. How about you focus on fucking Bitcoin and forget talking about bonds? How many years do you think that takes? How many years do you think that would take? Martin said, do you think financial advisors working for banks will start to recommend Bitcoin to clients? It depends. It depends. It depends on what the mandate is. But what I'll tell you is Bitcoin is going to be an institutionalized asset, and they will take advertising dollars and spread them out there. I wouldn't be surprised if they say, hey, you know, if you're one of the BlackRock representatives and you sell people into a Bitcoin fund, we'll give you more commissions because they make more money on the back end. So why wouldn't they? We'll give you more commissions. They give more commissions, people start selling it more, right? If you got two cars to sell, one's a Honda, the other one's a Nissan, for example, and you say, okay, for the next 3 months, if you sell the Honda, the same priced Honda, you're gonna make $5,000 commission. You sell the Nissan, you're gonna make $3,000 commission. What do you think the incentive is? To sell the car that's giving you the most commissions. That's what Bitcoin's going to be. That's what Bitcoin becomes. And what happens to their marketing dollars, right? Because if you've got 1% and the value of your fund goes from $2 billion to $20 billion and you make 1% off the 20 billion, you now have a little bit more paper than you did 3 years ago to spend on marketing. You don't think BlackRock and all these other companies are going to come after, you know, advertising in airports like GBTC is doing, like CNBC, Bloomberg, heck, even YouTube, right? You don't think they're going to come over and say, hey, promote our ETF for us? You don't think they're going to do that? They got marketing dollars to throw around, because every time that marketing dollar goes around, in 4 years, they know that the available marketing budget goes up by 20x. Then you got the multiplier effect, which means after the ETF starts, because of the multiplier effect, which tightens every time, because if there's no period of time where the multiplier effect can have a breather, right, it just gets more and more and more. So really, you're getting an increase in returns every single year, because the multiplier effect gets tighter and tighter. It gets, this is all happening because we got our clients to put 1% of their portfolio into Bitcoin, right? And then you go, okay, hold on a second. Why don't we go for 2% of their portfolio the next year or the next 3 years? Okay, cool. So now all their salespeople get on the phone and say, hey, what about 2%? But they don't realize the supply of Bitcoin is fixed, which means that extra percent that's now coming is coming into a world where there's less supply of Bitcoin, which means price being set at the margin, the price goes up even more than it did the previous year. Matthew said, do you think people talking about $1,000 dip in price are retarded? High time preference fiat brains or $1,000 net worthers? Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about what's going on right now in terms of price, you're a bit of a moron. Look at this. This is the fucking stupid shit. Make that make sense. What the fuck do you mean by that? Like, what is it? Do you think they're purposely trying to crash Bitcoin, considering ETFs need to show custody of the asset? What do you mean by that? What does that mean? What do you mean by considering ETFs need to show custody of the asset? What does that even mean? How is the price going down allowing them to show custody of the asset? What are you talking about? No, I want to know. What do you mean? What do you mean by this? This is the smooth braining conspiracy theory bullshit that everyone gets suckered into. Who told you about that? Who told you that it's smart for BlackRock to try and crash the price of Bitcoin, considering that their fucking fees are generated off of the value of Bitcoin? Oh, my fees are going to be a percentage of the dollar value of the asset that I manage for people. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something really smart. I'm going to crash the dollar value of the asset. I'm just going to crash it. Just a little bit. I'm just going to crash this. This is why people don't like me. It's because you guys come out with questions like this, and then I have to answer them. If you just went over to the nice people that have other YouTube channels and that talk to you nicely, like you've got a dummy in your mouth, you'd be much better off, because you wouldn't get this. And then I'd be much better off, because then I wouldn't have to deliver this. You see how this works? But you didn't make me grab the microphone yet, so we're good. I'm definitely not hilarious to hang out with. I'm hilarious in my mind, right? So if you're in my mind with me, I'm absolutely hilarious because you'll see me, you'll hear my thoughts. This is an interesting point. They don't want people transferring their money into crypto. They want to keep your money. Yeah, that's why in the European Union now, and I think it's internationally by 2025 or 6, the banks can now custody Bitcoin, right? Or custody crypto. But by then, who knows what crypto will actually exist? It might just be stablecoins. Um, and so what that means is if they can custody it, they can leverage on it. They can lend out against it, which means it's the same as a cash deposit. Look, this is a smooth brain trying to explain a smooth brain, or maybe I don't know if Imran is a smooth brain, but he's trying to explain the other guy's comment, not realizing how stupid it was. He is trying to say ETFs are required to hold the asset. In order for BlackRock to hold loads of Bitcoin, they want to crash the price so they can own more of it before it pumps. BlackRock can't buy the fucking asset until the ETF is live. The ETF is not live. BlackRock doesn't just have money that they can put into an asset. They're an asset manager, which means that they have a mandate based on the products that they can sell in the moment. They can only sell the Bitcoin product once it is approved in trading. Once it is approved in trading, what you're saying kind of makes a little bit of sense. But right now, they can't even buy the fucking thing because they don't have a product to put it into. They don't have a mandate. Can they be doing it for their highest net worth clients and et cetera, et cetera? Yes, they can do that. But they're not going to be stacking their ETF now because the fucking thing isn't trading yet. All right. We good. We good? We good? Everyone good? Jesus. Right. Matthew wants me to remind you guys to smash the like button, hit subscribe. It's free and it's easy to do. Don't be cheap. Oh, here we go. Let's see this. I haven't even read it. You mentioned last week about ETFs having to prove that they own the asset. Could they have targeted Binance as a way to reduce the price? Jesus. All right. I'm just going to skip past this now. I'm going to fucking skip past this. I'm going to skip past this. I have to skip past this. We can't just talk about this smooth brain shit. We cannot. I have to skip. You mentioned last week about the ETFs having to prove that they own the asset. Firstly, it's prove, not proof, that they own the asset. Could they have targeted Binance as a way to reduce the price? They can only own the asset once the ETF is approved. Once the ETF is approved and trading, they will have to show evidence of ownership of the asset within the ETF. Is that clear? Jesus Christ. Right. I'm going to move on now. I should have moved on. I apologize. I should have moved on. The removal of CZ was one of the last few steps. Yep. I agree. I agree. Someone said I now own 10 Bitcoin. Congratulations. Link to be available. Hold on. I'm going to do that right now. If you go to my Telegram, post it in there, right? Is this it? Yeah. Is it page 21 or 23? Have a look. 23. There you go. Send the telegram right now. Woo! Someone said new. What's this? Is this actually real news? Grayscale met with the SEC and disclosed it's reached a transfer agency and service agreements with BNY Mellon. There you go. Is that real? I don't know. I just got it off of a comment. So tell me. CZ exposed FTX, and so they went after him. I think CZ's gonna get a better deal than Sam is. John said, British, I wouldn't blame you if you needed to get drunk right after this broadcast. I don't drink, but I get the sentiments. Glad to join my first live. Okay, guys. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and I'm not gonna leave it unmuted. So entertain yourselves. I'll be back in 60. And while I was in the bathroom, I decided to get a little bit more comfortable. So, what I miss? I have a friend of mine who tells me I need to stop with the the bathrobe. Need to be a bit more professional, like Pompliano, and put on a good suit and tie, like Anthony. Told my friend to get fucked. Now I did stop swearing on the videos. On the videos, right? I did stop swearing. On the live streams, this is where we hang out. This is where we all talk about, like, how right we all are, basically. We are closing in on 50 million Bitcoin wallet addresses. Hold on, where's that comment? It's from Matthew. Closing in on 50 million Bitcoin wallet addresses. Let me just put it up here. With a non-zero balance. Maybe 20 million different people. We're still not at the 1% of total addressable market of 5.3 billion. I would even... How many do you think are at one Bitcoin? Like, how many real people do you think are at one Bitcoin? I don't know. It's a lot less than what people think. I think it's a lot less than what people think. This is a good, interesting question. Let's mentally masturbate about this. What is the worst regulation the U.S. government can impose that you can think of, and what would be the result? Huh. Worst regulation. By the way, yeah, I think I agree. It's going to be about 100 to 500,000 people that are whole coiners. I think that the worst thing that the U.S. government could do is stop all capital inflows into Bitcoin, which would involve the ETF, but they're not doing that. Now they might go to choke point 3.0 and they stop capital from bank accounts going into Bitcoin, but then you got the ETF, right? So I really don't know at this point. Like the US is just moving too fast on this. Robert says regulation is irrelevant to Bitcoin. That's complete horseshit. Even if while it might not be able to stop Bitcoin, I can definitely slow Bitcoin down to a crazy level with adequate regulation. And for that, it's absolutely important. 707 Vegan said, spank me. Why would I spank a vegan? 200k at 1 Bitcoin. British Ally posted a short article talking about how there are more Deca millionaires today than there will ever be whole coiners. Yeah, I think, how many Deca millionaires are there? I've actually bookmarked your article, but I haven't read it yet. I apologize. Don't hate me. Yeah, let's answer this question. I don't understand why so many people are happy that CZ is going away. Ordinary people need a centralized exchange, don't have enough knowledge. It's not about not having a centralized exchange. It's about having a regulated centralized exchange that can allow the next step of financial adoption, institutional financial adoption of Bitcoin to happen. And for that, Binance is not healthy. Right? They were trying to claim that they have this baby version of Binance in the United States, and basically the US has looked straight through that and said you're lying, and gone to the main organization. That's what's happened here. 2.72 Deca millionaires. Wow. So if I think about it, there's probably 4 or 5 times more Deca millionaires right now than the amount of whole coiners there are. That's amazing. See, this is the type of conversation I have with my friends, right? I'm long 5 Bitcoin, I'm long GBTC, I'm long Riot, Mara, and Coinbase, which I sell covered calls and credit spreads on. What other investment? See, this is the one thing that people don't realize. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to do a video on this. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe now, because I'm going to do a video on this soon. The ETF opens up the ability to generate cash flow on your Bitcoin, right? Cash flow on your Bitcoin. That's extremely important for institutional investors, because how a normal person generates cash flow is they go buy a property, rent it out, and that person gives you your cash flow. They rent the property from you. How an institution generates cash flow and how wealthy people generate cash flow is they do the exact same thing except with stocks, right? So when I first went into the gold space, I was the first, and people love commenting on my gold background, right? Yeah, I had a gold background, right? If you've ever done anything in your life, it's $1,000 net worthers that talk about people that have had actual business backgrounds and investment backgrounds. But when I went into the gold space, my first instinct was, how do I generate a cash flow on this dead asset? Because gold wasn't compounding the way Bitcoin is compounding, so the cash flow was important. So the way to do it at that time was to own GLD and then use options on GLD to generate your 12 to 26% a year of cash flow, right? That was the way to do it. But normal people didn't know about that. It's institutions that are using those strategies. So that's what I was trying to help people to understand. Like, this is even possible to do this, and you can generate a 12 to 26% a year cash flow by utilizing the options on the GLD position that you have. So your gold, not only do you own your gold at pretty much, market rates, but you can now generate a cash flow on it at 12 to 26% a year. That's what I was doing in the gold space. And everyone in the gold space hated me, right? Because just like in the Bitcoin space, everyone was pissed off by the fact that that was a better way to actually hold the gold to generate the cash flow, right? Their only argument was, what if the entire system collapses, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been warring with doom and gloom boomers my entire fucking career. So I know exactly how to deal with these people. And the way you deal with them is mock them. There's no other way. So when that facility comes to Bitcoin because of the ETF, you now can hold Bitcoin as an institution, because the average person is not going to be able to understand how to manage risk on a Bitcoin investment, right? So you will, as an institution, be able to now utilize Bitcoin as a cash flow generating asset as part of a portfolio, which then increases the likelihood of capital inflow into the asset. Because if I can do, let's say I buy the Bitcoin ETF, and then I sell way out of the money call options to generate 12% a year. I'm now making 12% a year on an asset that's compounding, 80%. With the volatility in Bitcoin, pretty sure you'll be able to generate a 12% a year yield through covered calls, through options, with very, very out of the money options. So it could be pretty safe as well. And we'll see what happens. But this is what's coming. And this is why gold only took off after the ETF. See, this is a question I always get, and it's a good question. It's just not the right time for it yet. And that is, how would you recommend individuals make passive income on their Bitcoin in the future? I know you're not a fan of real estate, but you can't beat the passive income. You can, because I could take my Bitcoin, and just like I said, once there's an ETF, I can generate, a 12 to 26% a year yield on it. You're not going to get that anywhere. You're not going to get that with real estate. You're not going to get that with anything. That's why, he's utilizing gold and generating a higher cash flow than most people's real estate portfolios. Like, what? They hated me for a reason, because it just made sense to do it. So, hold on. This is a pretty good comment right here. I'm going to star it. Let's see if the starring works. There we go. So, there is strategies that are going to emerge that are not available right now, because right now you've got people like BlockFi and Celsius and all these other people that have no investment backing trying to generate yield on Bitcoin, whereas in the future you're going to have BlackRock that's going to say, okay, we know how to assess risk portfolios, and so we know for every dollar move on Bitcoin what the risk is going to be to our loan on it. So they're going to be able to actually manage the loan to value amounts a lot better. And when Bitcoin is down, even though you might be in negative equity, they'll have the foresight, because of their knowledge about risk management, to hold the position and carry the position until it comes out on the other side. Whereas the players in the game right now can't do that. Whereas BlackRock will be able to. There will be players in the game that will, take your Bitcoin and give you a loan against it at the 200-week moving average. And if it goes down further, they'll just hold the position, because they understand how it works. They have the cash flow to hold the position. And that's just how the market works. British, as just a follow-up comment, as a former market maker on Wall Street, one thing I promise, there's no better strategy than selling put spreads in a bull market. Strap in. Exactly, right? The amount of puts that you can sell on a Bitcoin ETF in a bull market, you're making, especially on the premiums that you're getting. In the last run up, I was making tons of money just selling puts on miners, right? If it went down and I got assigned and I got allocated the stock, cool, hold it for 2 weeks and sell it if I wanted to. So making a bunch of money on the upside just selling puts on the miners. Now imagine you can do that with the ETF on actual Bitcoin, right? There's a huge amount of money to be made here. This is why I said this is a good comment, because this is what's coming. This is the world that I come from. This is what I do, right? So if this is all sounding confusing to you, I get it. But this is the world that I come from. On gold, on real estate, on stocks, on fucking everything. This is my world. To be able to generate a yield while sitting here on my ass doing nothing. I've done this for 18 years. Longer than that. Is it longer than that? No, about 18 years. This is what my whole world my history has always been about. This is what I've been trained to do. So when I see this opportunity, and you can go and see it, it's in the video. Go to my YouTube channel, go look at the first video I ever posted. That was Crypto Graffiti recording me on the phone. And I said it. Then you're going to get the ETF, and the ETF is going to open up all these opportunities. So I'm very, very excited about this. Just selling puts on the Bitcoin ETF and the miners on the upside is going to be huge, right? But most people should not do that because you will fuck it up. Most people should not do that. You should not, because what most people end up doing trying to trade options is that they'll go and place a fully leveraged position. But you can't do that. You gotta have cash in the background waiting to take allocation on a position in case the market moves against you. You gotta be able to get into it safely. So that's why I don't talk about it. But this is my world. I cannot wait for this to start showing up in Bitcoin because of the ETF. And Bitcoiners and $1,000 net worthers and this, that, and the other take the piss. And I get it, because you don't know how to do it. You don't understand how the markets work. You don't understand how institutions work. You don't understand how market makers work. You don't understand how the real financial world outside of your $1,000 net worth Twitter environment makes a cash flow on existing assets by using the $400 trillion derivatives market. I get it. I'd be pissed off too. So there you go. Jeff just said, yeah, selling covered calls on MSTR stock. Yeah. What does it mean when BlackRock will start seeding for ETF? What it means is they're going to put a little bit of cash in there so that on the day, if there's any selling or buying that goes on the initial first day, a little bit of cash is available for stuff to move around. They're seeding it in cash. Will you end up with the ETF by your Grayscale Bitcoin Trust holding? Assume you still hold it. Yes, I do still hold it, and that's the plan. And once that comes through, and you say GBTC is converted to an ETF, BlackRock's converted to an ETF, ARK, etc., now they all get to compete for my money, right? And all the money that's set up in a tax-free account, I can just basically sell and buy whatever. So if they reduce the fee, say if GBTC's fee is slightly higher than BlackRock's fee, I can just and let's say BlackRock's fund has more options volume on it. So now I can take my position from GBTC and put it into the BlackRock fund, and now they get to compete on their fees and all their other advantages of their fund. Kinetic Finance said, "Love you, British Hollow." That's you need to go watch that YouTube channel. Fucking love that YouTube channel. If it's the same one that I'm thinking about, let me find out. see. Make sure. Yes, this guy is fucking hilarious. This guy will put up pictures or videos of these OnlyFans hoes, and then just when the viewer is getting very, very excited and their private parts are drawing blood, immediately this handsome guy with blue eyes shows up and starts talking about Bitcoin. You absolutely have to go watch. Why am I not even subscribed to this? What the oh no, this is, am I not subscribed? Hold on. You have to go watch Kinetic Finance and go watch some of his shorts. If I haven't subscribed, I'm subscribed right now. But I see your videos all the time, and I think you're doing an amazing job. His name is Julian, and it's great. The creativity he's using is absolutely fantastic. So if you haven't seen his stuff, definitely go check it out. I can't imagine how disappointed I would be if I was watching his video, trying to get off for the night, and suddenly, just as the blood starts flowing, I don't know how he times it. It's just like, just as the blood starts flowing, he shows up, starts talking about Bitcoin. Yeah, look, this is a fair comment as well. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. I'd rather hold my one Bitcoin than use the ETF to sell calls. Maybe after I get to one Bitcoin. Okay, so you're not even at one Bitcoin yet. So you should not even be thinking about this conversation, right? Listen, guys, let's just have an honest conversation. Sometimes you're talking about stuff, you're worrying about stuff that is not should be being considered by you yet. So stop worrying about the shit. Get to one Bitcoin first, right? And then once you get to one Bitcoin and move past that, then you can start looking at other creative things. But you got to get to one Bitcoin, right? And even having an opinion on this is irrelevant for you, right? The Huscarl, I hope I pronounced that right. Like, you having an opinion on this is absolutely irrelevant. And I'm not saying that to insult you. All I'm saying is that you don't understand certain things that you need to understand to be able to understand what I'm saying and what everyone else that actually is using these strategies is saying. And you're not there yet, because in order to get that understanding, you need a certain amount of capital. And if you're not at one Bitcoin, then you're not going to be able to understand the things that are coming out of my mouth. I don't mean to be rude on that one. Like, sometimes I mean to be rude, but on that one, I don't mean to be rude. It's just a fact. See what happens when the bathrobe comes out. All right, I'm gonna skip some of these. Hey, BH, you have any concerns about confiscation? No, I don't. But you got to hedge everything, right? Yeah, look, Bitcoin will provide lots of profits with a multitude of products to take advantage of bull and bear markets. You don't think that I'm gonna? This was the cycle we just went through was my first Bitcoin cycle. You don't think that I've spent the last 2 years studying how to take advantage of the bear market to get more Bitcoin? Right? I didn't in the last one. I did a little bit, but I didn't. It was nothing significant as a percentage of the portfolio. I didn't, because it was just my first cycle. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was like, let me just see what happened. But you don't think that I'm going to take advantage of the downturn when you got an asset that's moving like this, the volatility like this? You don't think that it's worth taking a certain amount of capital, of profits, and positioning it to the bear side so you can acquire more Bitcoin? You don't need to do shitcoins. You don't need to do that. There's so many opportunities in the market. As an NHS doctor, finally got to 1 Bitcoin. Congratulations. Thanks for your advice and the pressure to achieve this, trying to convince other doctors, but they all don't believe it. Hold on. Hold on. They just don't believe it. So I get it. But thank you for your service in the NHS, even though I think the NHS is a piece of shit. I would never go to go into the NHS outside of, let me correct myself. For emergency, the NHS is the best in the world, in my opinion. For emergencies. Outside of that, you stay in the NHS, you're trying to die. And I won't get into that, but I have personal family experience that got to that opinion. He said he's an A&E doctor. Exactly. There's no one better than the NHS for emergencies. And then, unfortunately, the whole system gets plugged up with people trying to chop their dicks off, which ruins it. Right. I gotta go in a couple minutes, but any non-Bitcoin related questions? Now, when I say this, you disgusting people start asking some crazy shit. So, any non-Bitcoin related questions? The time for Bitcoin is past. Any non-Bitcoin related questions? Are you a gamer? No. When British Auto merch store with robes? Probably not. When you moving to Miami? Who the fuck is moving to Miami? You listened to the Andre 3000 Flute album? I haven't. Just heard Rick Ross and Meek Mill's new album. Are you happy with your health? No. That's one of my focuses. I don't live in Colombia. Someone said you don't mind living in Colombia when it's a high tax country. I don't live in Colombia. Dubai or El Salvador? Come on. It's Dubai. Some guy said if I make $5 million in Bitcoin, I would never move to Miami. Miami sucks. I don't know why. What's your favorite shoe? If it's like nice shoes to wear out, like really nice, I go with Berluti. If it's like smart shoes, I go with Loro Piana. If it's like sneakers, I go with Hoka. Where do you buy your cigars at? I got friends all over the world. Do you like Wu-Tang? I mean, yeah, but I'm more of a Jay-Z guy. What Cuban cigars you got? My favorites are Partagas, but I got a bunch. Would you visit El Salvador at the night of the halving? I mean, if President Bukele invited me, I would probably say yes. But if you invited me to stand on the beach on the night of the halving to drink alcohol with morons, probably not. I've never smoked an acid cigar. What the fuck is an acid cigar? Are you into cars much? I'm not really into cars, but my favorite so far has been Mercedes. I've loaned Land Rovers, Mercedes. Yeah, I just prefer Mercedes. Um, do you like stand-up comedy? Yeah, my favorite right now is Andrew Schultz. Top three movies. Christopher Nolan's Batman series. Okay, you guys aren't really asking too many crazy questions. All right. Did you see the SpaceX Starship test flight? No. Do you think one Bitcoin will set you free in 10 years? Yeah, I think so. You might have to leave if you're in a Western nation, you might have to leave, but yes. Who do you think Satoshi is? Jesus. And I don't mean Jesus. I'm reading a bunch of books. I read a bunch of books all the time. Sometimes I reread books. Like books that make an impact on me, I reread them. Like Relentless, I reread every year. Intimate Communion, I reread every year. Do you believe in any conspiracies? I don't know. Are you afraid of Florida Man? Absolutely. There's no one book to recommend for financial economic literacy, but I would start with the Bitcoin Standard and then go from there. Oh, that's a deep question. Longest relationship and why did it end? I'll have to. That's a whole stream. That's a whole stream. I love Christopher Nolan. Like I just love Christopher Nolan's movies. I love the way he directs. I love it. Fast Machine Media said hit 5.02 today. British, excellent. Yeah, I got Lynn Alden's book. It's on the table behind me. I need to start reading it. Congratulations to Fast Machine Media. Have you read the Bible? No, not back to front. No. Do you play poker? No. Right. And you guys know, as you guys know, because you guys are the ones that are always here, that despite all of these comments, despite my live streams, despite everyone else's YouTube, besides everyone, whatever anyone says, whatever anyone thinks, there's only three rules to Bitcoin. Step number one, you buy Bitcoin. Step number two, you shut the fuck up. And step number three, you get fabulously wealthy. I'll speak to you guys soon. I love you guys. By the way, yeah, I love the